How do? JRDF here.
Hmm?
Not been us both on camera for quite a while, but we thought it might be quite fun. Just a little workshop Wednesday video.
So I treated myself, my birthday, with some birthday money, to a subscription to Artful, which is, we shall see it. And it arrived this morning, and we thought, we could probably do with a bit of a chat about this. So we thought,
we started talking, didn't we? And we thought, oh no, let's make a video of this, because this is actually really important to our unboxing experience. Whenever we unbox anything, we're always seeing it from a point of view of, is there anything in this that we like to make our to steal ideas?
Well, do you remember when I got the headphones? I got these two little pairs of earbuds, two sets in two different colours, so fine. And we both did it simultaneously, kind of going, do we like this? Oh, I quite like that, and what have you. And that's kind of, sparked a bit of a conversation and some iterations.
Indeed. So, yes. Okay, so let's have a look at this. So the first thing that we noticed was this is the post box that it came in. So the actual sticker is on on that side. So this was what came through the mail, which is quite interesting. This is obviously a printed cardboard box. So our external shipping boxes, many different sizes, but this is our small one. So same sort of box. Very simplistic. That's what we put stickers and stuff on it to make it more Star Citizen-y. But this whole printed box got us thinking, we could do like fully Kovalex, like the DHL ones. And
yeah, I think it could be really interesting. We had a bit of a conversation as to whether or not they'd be JRDF or whether or not we would brand them as our shipping company of Kovalex.
I think Kovalex is nicer. I think Kovalex is more in-law.
Yep. I would agree.
The artwork on the boxes, a lot of people don't realise, is actually an in-law design. It comes from the Hanger Flare ship model boxes that we actually have in game.
And it still surprises me the amount of people that, when they've got their display, put the cardboard box with the Kovalex sticker on their shelf. So it's that kind of like taking it up. And we've spent a lot of time this last week. I've been doing catching up with doing kind of like the next batch of reprints on Dragonfly. And it's really interesting to go back and kind of go, oh my God, we've come so far in the way that we do things and what have you. Yeah.
No, it's interesting. Just see PJ's tweet. He really liked the unboxing. Just saw Crucian unbox his Cyclone. And it's just like, we are trying to make our unboxing experience the most amazing unboxing experience that we can. And like I say, to try and get as much of it that people want to keep as possible. I mean, isn't it amazing that I love this box. I think this is kind of designed to be kept because of what it is. It's art supply, so cool. You keep it in the Artful box.
And what you won't know is that each box is different. So I don't know what's in this yet. I signed up for the subscription. I know that the last two, because we first looked at them because there was the lino one, and you quite fancied doing a bit of lino printing. I don't. And then there was the ink one, which looked really interesting. So I don't know what this is.
So these are kind of like art loot crates, effectively. Yeah. But obviously, you will associate what came in this box with this external packaging, so you could have this on the shelf lined up and you'll know to go to this box. So it does fulfill a function, having the cost of print. And we should probably talk about the cost of this. So this will increase the cost of our boxes significantly if we were to go down this route. We're talking minimum orders of probably 2,000 boxes. 1,000 to 2,000 boxes to make them even affordable. So it can't be something, if we do it as an external packing box that's specific to a model. It'll have to be a general thing that we take our Star Citizen models out in.
It ties in quite nicely with that whole 2021, the quote of the year type thing. So that whole, whether or not we do actually manage to do the JRDF Loot Crate at Christmas.
Yeah.
Separate conversation. But it could just be a case of, well, actually, we get a run when we've done them. That's it. We move on to a new brand. The other question I had, obviously, there's 2 different size boxes. Well, there's 3 size boxes.
Yeah, but we could probably reduce it to 2 if we're getting a custom size.
Do we do 2 different?
Do one as Covalex, one as FTL or something. I mean, yeah, we could look into it. If we're going to have 2 different bits of artwork, could be quite fun. So at the moment we have a box that fits 2 small kit models in and a different one that fits 1 big one in, and we just can't find an off-the-shelf one that will do both.
I would still keep them as Covalex because the dispatch emails reference Covalex.
Covalex, yes. No,
the website references Covalex. So actually when we change to FTL as the approved distributor, that's when we switch the boxes out.
Yes. We did look at going to FTL, but at the moment there isn't enough in-game branding to them. The logo isn't really a proper logo yet, and I think they've got more to play around. There's also other shipping, like there's a dragon something like shipping and things. So,
but there was either no logo, no law, and what have you. So Covalex is the one at the moment.
And we have a little bit of a soft spot for Covalex in that we've always used Covalex and we built a full-size Covalex unit.
Exactly. So. It's that kind of like, it's on this. It's one of the few brands that I know as someone that doesn't play, and you're like, right, okay, fine. I know most of the ship manufacturers in terms of brands, but actually Big Benny's, Covalex,
Pips.
Pips, because we looked at doing the cans.
Yeah.
So
yes, I love the idea. I think it would be well worth getting a price for them. We have an interim step. We've got new stickers and stuff coming soon, which will really make the boxes so much better than they are now. But this would be the kind of the ultimate.
People are going to be so cross when they've got to cut them up.
Yeah, something you'll have to cut to get in, which we really like. But yeah, so I think this has definitely made me want to look into the costings of this because I really like the printed box. Shall we open it?
We shall.
It's the longest unboxing video ever before we actually open it. Okay, so we have, make sure we've got a message on the inside. And this is the really cool advantage of having a printed box. You print the inside and the outside. So it gives you a huge amount of area to do cool stuff on. And that's the thing, and it's real estate for coolness. Yes, you can't change the messages. You're stuck with whatever this says for the 1,000 or whatever it is. But this is a really cool big area that you could put some cool Covalex related stuff, some warnings, some whatever. You could have some advertising space that you stuck a sticker on, or there is loads of options when you can print the whole thing. It is really, really cool.
So yes, talks about social, and the daily drawing challenge.
The other option is like they've done here. On the outside, it's very blues and stuff. You've no idea that the inside is orange. The inside could be JRDF. We could go for the dark blue and have our social stuff on it and that kind of stuff.
Because, yes, we've got the little thank you card that we put in. Although I like handwriting them.
There is that. And the other thing we're always trying to think about when we think about our unboxing experience and how we package our products is that at the moment, we are still a very small little company trying to punch well above our weight. We're not at a break-even point yet with the Star Citizen models, not by quite a way. So we are very much running this as a smaller concern than is long-term practical. We are trying to grow the business to the point where it's self-sufficient. So everything that we think about, all the decisions we make about this, we have to make sure that it is achievable at largest volumes. I mean, realistically, we need to be, multiplying what we're putting out by 5 at least to make it a good, profitable business. So we need everything we think about is like, is that possible if we do it 5 times? Like the handwritten notes, like putting in like 4 stickers on every package we put out. Is that practical? It's like things like getting printed boxes are more practical when we go up to that level because we can, instead of putting 5 different stickers on a box, the boxes come with all of that artwork on them, and even more artwork than we can currently slap on with stickers, and we don't need to think about it.
Yes, because it is that whole hang on, are they in stock, etc. Because it's only one SKU that I need to worry about in terms of supplies.
Yeah, and even if we had 2 different sizes, and I think we'd probably end up with 2 different sizes and then one massive box.
We also need to think about diorama kits. Because it still surprises me that people buy diorama kits
on their own. Yeah.
Without.
But that will become more prevalent soon, because with the Q1 release that's coming up, not the Carrack. The Carrack is announced in open development, but there are more kit models coming out before the Carrack drops. I made an error in one of my videos that said the next model was the Carrack. It's not the next model that's coming out. There's at least 2 before the Carrack that are nearly there.
But you're mostly, certainly one of them, you're pretty much done.
Yes.
And actually, you're pretty much done with the other one.
Yeah.
In terms of the prints and what have you, there's casting issue that we're resolving.
There's a casting issue where we need to get that better than we currently have, so we're happy with it. So it's been sitting on the shelf for 6 months now, kind of ready to go, other than this one piece. So there are other models coming out. And there's diorama kits coming with them. So without giving too much away, we did show in the Q1 thing that's a 1 to 200 kit that's coming out next, and it's got 3 diorama kits with it. Now, that's where I think we might get sales of those 3 diorama kits without the kit model. Because if the kit model, the ship that's the kit model, isn't people's bag, but they already have the Max or the Freelancer, those dioramas go with that. So they might be going, I don't want the new 1 to 200 ship, because it's not my favourite ship, I'm not a big fan of it, but I do want those 1 to 200 dioramas that are going to come along with it, because they will go with my Max and Freelancer. And
indeed.
So, trying to find a box that will fit 4 diorama kit.
So for the time being, they fit in the petrol-y bubble bags.
Yeah, and they're quite nice, those, actually. Quite like those. We could always see if there's an orange one. We could get a more Covalex coloured one and sticker it up. Because that's the thing, from a volume point of view, that's certainly never going to be worth us getting those printed, I don't think, unless they're cheaper to print than boxes, because we'd need so few of them.
I got a package the other day of a Jiffy bag that was purely paper.
Oh, interesting.
And I did a check of my usual suppliers, and I couldn't find any.
Interesting.
But from the eco point of view, it's why we recycle the foam from insert.
And you're not a huge fan of that. I mean, so a lot of people have got our models within our shipping box. We use a wide variety of stuffy, packy materials. We use offcuts of our foam that have come out, because we laser our own foam for the pieces, so there's a lot of waste for that, so we try and use that up. We also use cardboard, crinkly cardboard stuff.
That's really heavy, though.
It is really heavy, and we've just bought a massive bag of sort of traditional packing peanut chips.
But they're not traditional packing peanuts.
Well, they probably are now, but people don't realise they're actually water soluble and recycle. They are.
So I didn't realise the figure of 8 ones are
styrofoam.
Yes, fine, hideous things, whatever. But the ones that look like, they don't even look like peanuts.
No, I think the figure of 8 ones are technically the packing peanuts, because they're more peanut shaped.
But the ones that are Wotsits.
Yes, they look like
Wotsits and Cheetos.
Yes.
But white are water soluble.
Yeah,
and it's so weird. I've put some in water to and it's bizarre.
And it's so that they just dissolve in landfill, and to basically nothing.
But I didn't realise.
And they're actually made of like a cornstarch or something. They're actually they're bizarre things. They're like squirted out of a machine.
But how do you without putting a leaflet in that says these chips are?
But the whole point of them is you can just throw them away, and they go to landfill and they just dissolve into the soil. They're designed not to have the end user isn't supposed to do anything with them. They're just supposed to melt into the environment when they get there.
But it's that whole. When I've got them in the past, I'm like, oh,
I mean, we reuse them. But we bought a big bag of them because they're light. And obviously, we're not joking that obviously we're UK based. 5%, if that, on a good month, 5% of our products go to the UK. Yeah. Usually between 0 and 5. We can have months to go by without sending anything to the UK. So everything is being exported to either the EU, which obviously now we're not in. That's
land
issue.
Though, so weight is less of an issue.
It's less of an issue, but going over to the States, Australia, Canada, we get charged by weight. So even things like putting, and we have so with Royal Mail, so if it's America, it's Royal Mail to USPS, we have a limit of 2 kilos. Now, some of these bigger kit models...
Same to Europe,
yeah. Some of these bigger kit models are, once you put them in a box, are getting close to it if you want, a big model and a small model. We can just sneak it under, but if we then filled the void in that box with the cardboard stuff, it would be overweight.
Yeah.
So we have bought a massive bag of packing these sort of like foam things because they're light. And they are, and they do melt away. So environmentally, they're not horrific.
And we are looking at the foam that goes inside our kits because actually we found, so the first set of foam that went in was die cut, and there was issues with that, and it was done externally. And then we got the laser, fine. Couldn't laser that type of foam. No,
you're restricted onto the types of foam you can cut with a laser. So we've gone for as lower density plastizote as we can. So lovely foam for packing. It's what they use in flight cases and stuff for cameras and all that kind of stuff. So it is lovely foam, but it's probably a bit OTT for what we use it for.
You go OTT!
But it is the lowest density we could get of that laserable foam. But we did get some samples from a company called Trotec, who make some awesome lasers that I'm not allowed because they're 32 grand. For what we use them for, we wouldn't really benefit from the difference of those two. And their box came packed in the foam that they had lasered, and it was probably half the weight of ours, I think. It's a much... I think it was still a closed cell polymer, but it was much bigger cell than the stuff.
And it still felt incredibly supportive. And I think we're getting better, aren't we?
Yes.
In terms of how things...
But the interesting thing is, the lower the density, the straighter it will cut, because you need less power to get through it. And
so we won't have that slight... I don't like the... Obviously, I do the QA, so it's hard. I struggle sometimes when there's a slight angle to it. But it's as good as we can get it for the time being. And that's kind of how we run the business at the moment, of going, well, actually, that's as good as we can get it, but that's fine, because what that means is next time it gets better and better and better.
And sometimes we go, this is as good as we can do, a bit like this kit model that has the clear casting problem at the moment. We can 3D print it like we've done with the Arrow, but it's so much bigger, this canopy, that we're not happy with it. And 3D printing it is as good as we can do at the moment because we haven't got the casting sorted. So we go, no, in this case, it isn't good enough to go out.
But I mean, even JC's even signed it off.
Yes, I know. He was happy with it, but we aren't happy with it.
So
yeah.
Hey ho. Sorry, JC, you're wrong right now.
No, not wrong. It's still awesome. We're just trying to be more awesomer. It's a word. Right, so back to this thing.
Cool. You can still see the bottoms. Okay, that's fine.
So, interesting, we have tissue paper.
I love a bit of tissue paper.
You do like a bit of tissue paper. I like it from a point of view, an art point of view. It'll be interesting to see. I'm assuming it's still full sheets. Yeah, so this is very reusable. Arty people will just sit there for hours smoothing that out. So yeah, 3 bits of tissue paper. Quite like that. I can't see us going to a tissue paper.
No, I like it purely from a consistent colour.
Yes, the colour is nice actually. Okay. Because you've got the oranges of the box inside.
I'm going to pop it underneath the lid.
All right.
Yeah, it's out of the way. Do you know who Tombow are?
I don't.
So,
a pen manufacturer?
They are indeed a...
And their marketing is good, because I got that without knowing that company was.
They are good brush pens, apparently.
Paint pens or ink pens, or both?
Ink pens. So brush pens.
Yeah.
So do you remember the ones that Leela went nuts for?
Yes.
The chameleon ones.
Yes.
They are a slightly more accessible version.
So this is something that people who bought our kits recently will have noticed. We've started to put things in our packaging. So we have got the flyer for the paint contest that finishes the end of this month. Get your entries in now. It's quite nice to put the flyers in because we want to do some that are our company specific ones. We also want to try and do some in-law ones. So great example of that would have been when the Imperator elections were on. Mm-hmm. We would have put flyers in for the different candidates.
There is also things like when our sales are up and productions are up. That actually it is feasible to do a run of things promoting Stella Fortuna. Because obviously that's next week.
Yes.
Well, promotion's running at the moment. But realistically, 100 certificates or 100 leaflets is the lowest you can really kind of get away with. We don't do that many leaflets in... No. We don't do that many sales in that shorter period of time that CIG would need to tell us what it is they're actually doing for us to get the leaflets printed for them to actually then go out and to then land at the same time. Yeah,
because obviously anything we put in like that in law, we will have to get signed off by the legal law and art teams. So there's going to be a certain amount of delay on that kind of stuff. So we need to think about those things way ahead. Things like Fleet Week is a good one because we know that's always coming. Anniversary sale type stuff.
Yes, but we know that quite often the artwork isn't signed off early enough. The other thing we've got to bear in mind is how long shipping actually takes.
Yeah,
because if shipping is a week, then fine. I know that there are still significant issues with USPS at the moment.
Yeah.
And by the time it leaves here, clears customs, gets to the US, and then I don't know. I don't know how USPS works. You can kind of track Royal Mail, and it seems to make sense. But my geography of America is not amazing.
Makes perfect sense when you actually look at it.
But I swear, it's like table tennis. It's like it goes to there, to there, to there, to there, to there. Oh yeah, and then goes back to LA, and I'm like, what? Hello.
I'm sure it makes perfect sense to them. But yeah, I like the flyers. I like the.
So that's the other thing to just be mindful. Yeah. It's cardboard. Our leaflets are paper. Thoughts? It adds a quality bit.
It does. Is it needless weight? Is that a couple of grams going to make a difference? Probably not. Card's quite nice. I think... So one of the ones we want to try and do with like the in-law stuff, it's not an advert, it's just a thing to collect. So from that point of view, is card better for a... Like if it was... Because I think we would probably do stuff A5... just because it'll fit in all our boxes without folding. So if we did a little poster, it would be really cool and frameable, or just, blue tack to the wall.
But it's double-sided. We've had this conversation before. It doesn't add a lot for it to be double-sided, but it's then, what side do people have on show?
Well, it's not my problem. It's probably a two-sided frame. I don't know.
I guess that... Thinking about it, you'd have that bit if that was the picture and what have you, and you wouldn't necessarily have the wordy side on show.
Yeah, I would agree. If it's a law type thing, I don't know how that would work. Cool. It's like if it was an advert for Whammers or something, you could have the Whammers thing on one side and then like specific burgers and stuff advertised on the other. You probably want to get two to buy more kits and get two flyers, but so they can have both. But
it does. The thinking outside, well, not necessarily outside the box. It's a good opportunity. They've got a discount code on there.
Yes, good opportunity to do offers.
Yeah. But also thinking about the unboxing voucher.
Yes. So one of the things talking about unboxing, one of the things we do want to do is I'm very much all for running contests and codes and things of like JRDF events more focused on our current customers than our potential customers, which I know is a bit of a controversial thing, but I like. So things like the paint contest. It's a £250 prize in our vouchers for the paint contest, but obviously only our customers can enter it because they have to have mould paint.
But I would have nothing against if someone bought the little ground crew, the little ground vehicle diorama kit, and actually did 2 dragonflies and 2 grey cats, and did a little kind of like thing and what have you. You've actually only had to spend 15 quid in postage.
Oh no, absolutely, and that.
And if you've done that amazingly, then actually
that's very cool. You could do it entirely with dioramas. But it's that whole thing of stuff that offers and promotions that come in the box. So the unboxing thing. So what we wanted to do was basically give a £10 voucher for anyone who does an unboxing of one of our products. And tags us and stuff. We'll put the rules out for it, but just like, we love seeing you guys unbox it. It's purely for our benefit. It's obviously purely for marketing as well. But
it's also fascinating from that kind of like, oh God, they didn't notice that. What do we need to do to make that clearer, or what have you? Or the little things that people do notice that we go, oh, right, didn't even think about that. So it's...
Oh, people spot things and love things that we hadn't really put any thought into. And we're always so perfectionists, and it's like things like the cut of the foam really annoys us. No one has ever noticed that it isn't perfectly straight. No. And it's just like, I could do a whole video on why lasers don't cut things straight. Lasers never cut anything straight. It's not in their nature because... And you sort of think, why? Laser beams, it's like laser beams in television are straight. Laser beams, when you cut things, have to be focused into a very, very tiny, tiny focal point. So you end up with this sort of focal point issue. So when you're cutting a thick thing like our foam, you get that focal point curve, which is why it doesn't cut straight. So there's different lenses you can use, but there's no way of getting around it. Anyway, that's a whole different video. We want you guys to do unboxings of our kits. We'd love to see you loving our kits. And
if any of you want to do an unboxing, before I put the blurb out, main rules are going to be out on social media and tag us. And I'll then, if I do all the social media, so when I see it, I will ping you a
code and stuff,
a code and what have you. Yeah. So crack on.
Yeah. Okay. So next thing in the box, I like the fact it fits perfectly nicely.
Yes. I do love an envelope. Those of you that have had a cyclone will have seen that we have done.
Yes, we now have
envelopes. I like these.
Yeah, we've had a debate about this, haven't we?
We don't often have... they're very legal things. And so they're not common, but they make sense for things that you open and then close again, and open and then close again.
And my thing... So... people haven't seen our envelopes. Our envelopes in the cyclones, the decals are in them, the instructions are in them, the certificate of authenticity is in them. It's just nice little way to sort of put them all together, and they are a translucent white translucent envelope, which I think looks quite sci-fi. And it's that whole thing, trying to sci-fi everything up. I do like these as well, but I just feel they're not sci-fi. With the exception of if we ever do something that is Chairman's Clubby, in that the Chairman's Club is all about trying to sort of revive that very kind of gentleman's club sort of smoking jackets and top hat and monocle. So you could definitely do a Chairman's Club branded envelope like this in black, white with gold on, or that kind of stuff, and definitely have that as a feature. Cool.
So the other thing in terms of the boxing, I think it's interesting that this is the first bit that you see, because actually when you turn it over, it's a branded envelope.
It is a branded envelope. This confuses me in that it's like a sort of like, it reminds me of a exercise book at school that no one's filled in yet. I'd kind of either not have it, have a sticker that goes on it, a stamp or something. Why is it empty? Is it?
Yeah, don't know. So I can tell that this has what I assume to be brush pens. I'm just going to pour them out into here.
Kals does get quite excited about stationery, so you're going to have to...
Love a bit of stationery. So what have I got? I've got various different pens. So they're all one type. So 2, 4, 6, 8. It's not an Artful unboxing. That was what we were quite clear about. So it will be random, some of the things that we do as part of this new series. For instance, we've bought, it's Mother's Day. And we've bought your Mama Flower subscription,
which you might end up getting unboxed. But as I say, we're not unboxing the thing. You probably noticed by now we're actually talking about our products. And I'm an engineer, so engineers, as a general breed, love to steal all the ideas, because why the hell would you reinvent the wheel? That's where the phrase is coming from. So we look at other things and see what we like. Cool. So load of pens. That's fine. I'm going to put them back in the envelope. Load of pens, a pencil. They're all Tombow. And I'm going to put them back in here. They will obviously go in one of my many drawers of pens, pencil cases. But cool. But I might need to buy a new pencil case, because I'm not sure that I've actually got a one for Tombow things. Yeah, I don't think I've got any brush pens. Leela had brush pens. So our final thoughts on this. How would this be relevant? I think if we did something that had a chairman's club thing, if we do for any stage, I think this is a nice way of doing it. It's quite a big envelope. We'd probably be thinking about a smaller envelope, but yeah, I think I'm not a big fan of this whole random colour thing. We've got an RGB envelope here. Very true. But the reason why it's this big, I think, is because one of the pens, that would be too tight. If they all went in that way, you couldn't do a smaller envelope. I'm no doubt, but yeah. So that's fine. So that's cool. I'll stick this down. Go on then, pop it on. End up with too much kicking. So what's this? So these will be little cards. So interestingly, the band on this, I ended up having to make these myself. This sort of band myself with paper tape for the Atmo Esports trophies, because we used our normal boxes with the Atmo Esports logos lasered into them and everything. But of course, they're magnetic closed lid boxes, and all the magnets keep the boxes closed, not securely enough to ship them like that. But obviously our products have a sleeve over them, which that's how they work, sleeve over top of the magnetic box. So I had to sort of make a band out of paper tape because there was no sleeve for them. But it worked quite well. I actually quite liked it. So what I like the simplistic nature of this. So what I do know is that each box comes with supplies and a magazine for how to use them and what have you. And one of the things that I want to do anyway, I've done a brush lettering course. I do have brush pens. Well, I have calligraphy pens. They're different to these, but anyway. I just have Sharpies. That's all I'm allowed. And you do, anyway. He's got a limited amount of Sharpies. He's allowed them when he's knackered the ends, basically. Yes. I'm not allowed new Sharpies. No. Oh, no. I tend to use them on wood too much. But they're obviously very good for marking wood. Yes. So what are these things? So they're just cards with envelopes. Oh, nice. So blank cards to do some kind of creative craft thing. Because I wanted to see about basically improving my handwriting. So actually the cards and stuff, like the little thank you cards and what have you, have my... It'll be interesting to see if you want to go to a non-gloss card for doing your notes. Because that is the thing with our JRDF ones, that they are gloss, so you can use a Sharpie on them, but you wouldn't... Sharpie is the only thing I can use. Yeah, because they are so high gloss. And because they're only... A6-ish. Yeah, I'll give you that. Smaller. B6 probably. What's B6 bigger? B6 is bigger. Based on what I know about journals, the B is slightly bigger. And C is the envelope that goes along with something. Yeah. Anyway. Stationary talk. Fucking riveting. So that to me looks like an off-the-shelf product. Yes. So that's what they do. Yes. They basically just get a range of products. I don't know who makes these. So these are made by Artful. They have Artful's branding on. So Artful's... Interestingly, the only social media that they do is Instagram. And yet, I know of them because of Facebook ads. Interesting. I find it interesting. There's nothing on here that says where these were made. That's obviously something else that we are a made in Britain company, and one of our biggest bugbears is the fact that so we're a made in Britain company. Our kit models are made in Britain products because for that to be true, 85% of it has to be made in the UK with all the rest of it. But obviously, we don't manufacture everything in this country. So much stuff is done overseas now. And one of the things that we do buy from a British company, but they are imported, are our boxes.
So I was looking at some of their boxes yesterday, and one of them actually says "Made in Britain."
Good God!
I know.
Is it £1 million?
No, it's too small.
Oh,
it's one of the little boxes.
Yeah.
But it was that kind of like, okay.
At least there's a company somewhere in the UK that makes boxes.
Indeed. So yes, that was quite interesting. So Tombow is Japanese.
Yep.
From Japan to the whole world, which I didn't know. I know of Tombow pens. Fine.
So they're made in Japan?
From Japan to the whole world. No, they are made in Germany.
That's acceptable.
Not
that I don't accept things made in China. don't get me wrong. It's like I've no issue with it. I feel that we're trying to do things differently, and one of our big things is trying to become a big made in Britain company.
So made in Germany, and the URL is tomboweurope.com, which says that there's probably Tombow US and Tombow fine. So I'm quite happy about that in terms of that's fine.
I hear the Germans are quite good at making shit.
Yep. So that's cool. That is just a pad of paper.
That is just a pad of paper. But can we just say what is interesting from this thing? So this has been on my list for over a year now. We keep almost buying it, but just never having quite enough money to spare on it. This is shrink wrapped, and I really, 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 really want to shrink wrap our model kits because the art sleeve and stuff we put on it is we put so much work into it. There is the risk of, let me just grab a kit since I've got a pile of them here. It's these edges when we're putting them on and off shelves and things, and when they're in the packaging, they can slide and it sort of rags the corners. And there'll be some people have got them and it's just like it's just a tiny bit damaged, but it just rags the corners. And because we want these boxes to be part of the collectability of our models, it annoys me when that's happening to them, and especially on the big boxes are even worse because they have two glue seams on them and they tend to rag a little bit more easily. So I really, really want to shrink wrap them. And it's that whole case of, well, cool, shrink wrap them is like awesome. It's about £3,000 worth of investment to get the machine, to get the to put new, because it's the machine we would need is about £1,800, and I will need to bring up a
£1,800 plus VAT.
Oh yeah, plus VAT. Taxes, which is 20% here, so it does add a bit. But I also need to get all the cabling and stuff to bring a dedicated 16 amp supply up from the workshop all the way up to the other side of the building, because it runs off 16 amp supply. So that'll be another couple of £100 to do that. And then we've also got to get stock of the shrink wrapping stuff, and we've got to have it delivered and get it installed and all this kind of stuff. So it's roughly speaking about a £3,000 investment at the end of the day for time and materials and everything we need to do it. But I just want to shrink wrap our stuff so much, because it's for stocking them on the shelves. We don't have to be as infinitely careful with them. We can take them to events a bit more easily, and they are. It also would allow us one day to have them stocked on shelves in shops and things. That it would be a must. Otherwise, people would just sit there and take them apart. I am really bad for that. I will go into so we have this amazing shop in Glasgow called oh god. I know. All I can think of is Fortnightly Frontier, and it's not that, because that's an amazing podcast, not a shop. It's so long since COVID. Oh.
Forbidden Planet.
Forbidden Planet, thank you. It's Forbidden Planet, awesome. There's a huge one in Glasgow, and I just go up and down the shelves going, oh, can I open this box? And just sit in the arse unboxing everything.
It's funny, there was this teeny tiny little Forbidden Planet, wasn't there, next to Buchanan Galleries?
Yeah.
And it was horrendous. Yeah. It was just, it's the tiniest little shop.
Yes.
But yeah, I think I got you Firefly graphic novels in there, so it's like, right, okay, fine. But they were way at the back, and this, that, and the other, and then suddenly they opened to, it's not far off a department store. It's 2 floors, so many collectibles,
huge manga section, anime sections,
loads of plushies, and
but quite a lot of
massive anime bit at the back.
Yes. And quite a lot of kits and stuff. It's the first time I'd seen like Battlestar kits. And
we took Rye, didn't we?
We did.
After SitCon in Manchester. Oh, the good old days.
The good old days. The before times.
Rye Glitch came to stay with us, and it was almost like a crowbar trying to get him out, because he's like, there's nothing like it.
No. It is a chain, but it's not a big chain. I think there's only half a dozen in the whole of the UK.
Well, interestingly, I went in to talk to them back in... It was when I went for the RBS interview thing for that. 2 weeks before lockdown.
It's interesting
for being stocked in the shop.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. Being stocked in shops like that has huge issues because at the end of the day, retailers put 40 to 50% on the price of stuff, which is fine. That's how they pay for their shops and staff and everything else. That's how they make their money. We are a D2C company in that we sell direct to you guys. Otherwise, these would be twice as much. And I feel that at the moment it's the only way we can do them because our production costs are so high. Partly, mainly 3D printing is an expensive production process at the moment, but also because we do all our own artwork and it's still a limited run, all the rest of it, they are expensive to produce. So if there's someone else was then doubling it, they would be ridiculous. So I think that's probably a bit further down the road to when we're, manufacturing on a different scale.
We picked 500. 500 felt like a good number to us.
For Star Citizen as well. That's a number for...
Yeah. And we might find that actually when Star Citizen launches, I said when. When
Controversy.
I know! When Squadron launches and what have you, and it does have that explosion, that we go, you know what, actually, there is enough, and they are flying off the shelves, that actually 1,000 is the right number.
I think the thing with Star Citizen is like, I'm quite happy with the 500 to a degree. There are so many ships that realistically, if we actually sold 500 of all of them,
But it might be a case of, well, actually... There will never be, these ones, there will never be more of them.
No.
So the 1 to 100 arrow, there will only be 100. 500 even. Yeah. It's because I've just said 100.
Yeah.
We don't do, I was really shocked. Another game that launched late last year. Limited edition runs of... people, there was a male and a female character with their...
The cyberpunk stuff. You're allowed to say the name.
Limited edition.
2077 limited run.
And then it's like, actually, you read it and you do a little bit of research, because we do that. And then it's like, yes, the first print. And then the second.
Yeah.
It's like publishing books. It's like first edition, second edition. I'm like, no... They're limited. But apparently no. But it just comes back down to the ethics and what have you. It's like, no, we won't do a second run. That's it.
And I guess we obviously do every single SKU. So we do Auroras, for example. We would do all the different Auroras, all the Cyclers as different kits.
Yeah.
So like the Cycler MT has just been announced. Been looking forward to that coming into the public sphere. We're talking on our server about it, and it was like, well, we could do the rocket pods for it, and they could just be a diorama kit for the TR. And she's like, no, we have our rules. It will be a completely separate model. It is slightly. I've noticed 1 or 2 small, teeny tiny differences that would mean there are 3 or 4 different parts that will be slightly different. We'll put different characters in it, we'll put different guns in it. We'll obviously have the missiles, interchangeable missiles. So by the time we've done all that, it's a different kit.
Because actually, that's the other thing that a lot of people don't realise. It's like, okay, you've done a Cyclone, you've done the Cyclone TR, but actually, the diorama bits that go along with it are things that would be useful that go along with a TR.
Yep.
The characters actually tie in with it.
Yeah.
The same with the RC, and it's that kind of like, because yes, we'll do. They were a bad example because actually we didn't do the diorama kits that go along with it. But things like the normal Cyclone, one of the diorama kits that will go along with it is
cargos.
Different cargo to actually go on the back.
Because the cargo is actually really big on a 1 to 40.
I mean,
they are quite big boxes.
Yeah, I mean, the crates have always had a bit of a special place in our hearts because that's kind of the first thing that we did.
Exactly. So I'm really looking forward to doing that. But because, when we were starting to think about the kit models from that point of view.
Also love the props team.
Yeah. Corey, thank you. The Cyclone is built in game. There is a base model with the modules that attach into it. And so we actually designed the base model of the Cyclone, and then all the other bits do go in. So there was always that theory of, well, could we then do a base Cyclone, and then you bought a separate diorama kit to convert that into which Cyclone you wanted? And it's like, actually, that would be so much more expensive for people because in my mind, if I was building it, I would know which Cyclone I wanted.
Yes.
So it's not like you could swap them in and out because you're going to paint them in a particular way. You're going to, all that kind of stuff. So you'd end up having to buy a kit and an extra bit. Now, that kit would be a little bit cheaper because there'd be a few less parts in it. It's still going to be the big box. It's still, and we still have to do the artwork. And actually, we'd end up having to do one more set of artwork because we need the artwork for the base Cyclone and then artwork for all the individual bits that go onto it. So, no, it seems logical and cost saving. It actually doesn't work out that way. And unless it was this interchangeable thing that. So a better example of something that would be interchangeable, say we did a big Caterpillar model or an Endeavour when that comes out, that has modular aspects to the ship itself. So you can take different cargo pods out and replace them with other cargo pods.
Because can't you, is it the Caterpillar that you can make longer or shorter? Or is that the hull? Is that the whole series?
I don't.
What was the one that you can add more bits in?
So the Caterpillar does have those modules, but I think it's going to be, as far as I know, it's always going to be the same length. You can just swap. So
it's effectively got like a spine, and you just attach.
No, it doesn't. There's actually nothing to stop you having a shorter Caterpillar or a longer Caterpillar.
Just
the
magic.
Way it's designed.
Okay, cool.
Well, no, I imagine. No. I imagine it's the sort of things. Obviously, the ship is set up to be a certain length. If you had it a different length, all the thrusters wouldn't work properly and stuff, and the whole thing would be.
Okay, no.
I don't know. That's another question for Jason. Can we make a Caterpillar a different length? I don't know, but that would be something that if we did a big Caterpillar model, it would have to be like a 1 to 200 one, which would be a huge model. You would get that as your base model, and then you could buy as diorama kits the new pods. Because there'll be lots of different sorts of pods. So that is still, but the reason that is very different is because you're still using the Caterpillar, which is the SKU, which is the model of the ship in game.
Yes.
And then you're swapping bits out on it. Same with the Endeavour, in that the Endeavour is more like the spine, and then it has modules to put on it. To be honest, when we do the Endeavour, we will probably not have any of the pods in the original kit because you don't have any on the actual ship itself. You actually have to add those as separate entities. So it's like there's obviously different ships have sort of different ways of doing it, but I think we will try and keep as close to the game as we can.
There's got to be, we've got to find a way of kind of going, no, that's where we
draw the line.
Yeah.
So there are SKUs in game that we won't do as separate things because I do feel that they are a cheat. So things like the Heartseeker. Things like the Stella Fortuna variants, because they are a separate variant in game, but they're effectively just green with different guns. So I don't want to do a Stella Fortuna separate kit of a model, because that feels like a cheat.
Because at the end of the day, it's the only thing that's different is the skin. And it's not that you're selling it as a skin, but
the kit. Say we sell out the arrow. We're halfway through the arrow now, so maybe in a year's time the arrow will be done and gone.
Yeah.
I don't know one to turn around. Oh, the arrow's gone. Let's do a Stella Fortuna arrow. Yeah. And it's the exact same kit. Yeah. You just paint it different.
Fundamentally, the model needs to be different, and that's more than different decals.
Yes, it is. There has to be something about it.
We've gone very off on a tangent.
We have,
as is our way.
But as I said, this is not an unboxing of an Artful box. This is
finally,
a nice book.
A nice little book.
So this is the instruction booklet.
Let's learn about calligraphy and other stuff.
Nice book.
I love the smell of a book. It's nice.
Yeah, it's nice.
I do like matte. I do like a little bit of matte. I can't think what that's called, but actually,
it's like a satin, actually. So we have been upping our instruction booklet. We'll have to do a whole thing about our instruction booklets at some point. From our original just printed grey cat bit on a bit of photo paper to what we're producing now in the TRs and the new one. It is that obviously we don't need anything this sort of thickness, but it's nice to have a really properly printed, all sides printed book.
So the other thing that this book does, it takes you through the design of the box.
Oh, really?
So, in theory, there's a whole article in here. Artful's Jamie walks you through the box design this time around. So yeah, the box does change each time.
Nice.
And obviously that's the fish and the crab and the coral and not the coral, an enemy.
Nice,
etc.
Really cool. So presumably this has all been done with the pens that were in the box.
I would assume so.
Which is quite cool.
But yeah, draw an outline using such and such marker, and how to draw them, which is lovely.
Now I will say, considering that this wasn't packaged in any way, it obviously fitted quite well in the. Well, I don't know. I mean, that to me would worry me in the post it's doing this, but it hasn't dog-eared.
No.
I mean, there's nothing stopping it rattling around other than the stuff on top of it. It wasn't packed so tight that it wouldn't have.
No, but pop everything back in, and I just want to do a little bit of a shape test.
See, that fits perfectly.
Yeah, but that's actually quite heavy.
Yeah, so, but that's kind of worse in a way.
That was.
And then tissue paper. I mean, there's no way that this tissue paper is dense enough to completely stop that rattle. It's that sort of, that would worry me. I mean, we have had some boxes through the post. One to Westbrook Drew sent us pictures and looked like they played football with it.
Oh, it's horrendous.
Thankfully, the kit was fine, but it was horrific. Like, absolutely horrific. And it was almost to the point where the box looked like it had been shaped into a ball. It didn't have corners left at all.
I mean, this is UK.
Yes,
so it comes to us from Loughborough.
That's true, because it is an internal
Turn it over because that's got our address on it.
It doesn't matter. Everyone knows our address anyway. It's our company address.
Feel free to send me presents.
Yeah, it's just like, everyone says, "Oh, careful your address." Like, I get that normally, but it's like it's our company address. It's on our website. If you want to drive all the way out here, you can have a beer. It's fine.
It's COVID; they're not allowed. But the rules lifted Friday, so
we can talk to you in the garden now.
Yes,
have a beer in the garden.
Yep.
Good luck to that.
You're not allowed to drink and drive at all. So maybe a cup of coffee.
And bring a tent. And then you just leave it up in the garden. I don't know.
But yeah, general rule, if you find yourself in Scotland, feel free, drop us a message, come in for a cup of tea.
If you drive to Scotland, chances are you drive past our house anyway, because we're on the main motorway. So.
But yes, I'll hide all the models that are...
we bought 2 display cases.
There is a cupboard there that is all of the models that JR is currently working on that are not in the public domain. Yeah. I have one in my office that is all the models that are in the public domain.
Yeah, I shall put up insert footage here.
Ta-da!
Insert blurred footage here.
But yeah, so this is a extended workshop Wednesday. A couple of days late. I was away, so we were a little bit late doing this. But yeah, so this was the plan. So this will go out for last week with a bit of an apology, but we will do it as a semi-regular feature.
Yeah, I think when we get a cool box that we like the look of, I think I also want to deliberately buy some stuff. So I was into Warhammer and stuff. Still have quite a big Warhammer army. Look, don't have anything that's not unboxed, unfortunately. I've bought bits of Forge World stuff before, but again, I've put them all on models now. So I think I'm going to buy some Forge World stuff. I also want to buy some of the new Clone Wars tabletop game pieces, and we'll have a look at those as a bit more of a critique of how similarly priced kit models are shipped out.
And also some models.
Yes, and some models, because I think it's a bit more apples for apples when we sort of look at that kind of stuff in the same sort of price bracket as ours. We'll try and find some of the 3D printed model kits. The only ones we've seen is that German guy who's doing the SpaceX models, but they're like hugely back ordered at the moment.
They are. He's taken them all off sale at the moment. So feel free down in the comments to throw anything that you think would be interesting for us to purchase, unbox, that might be a bit of an inspiration.
So stuff that you think would, like stuff that you don't pick stuff that you think is an awful unboxing experience, because then we're wasting our money. But if you know of things that you had a really amazing unboxing experience with, let us know. We will look at unboxing videos of that thing, and if we also like it, we will buy them and then critique them, because as I said, this is not an unboxing channel. This is a things that JRDF can learn from other people's packaging to improve our own. That is the sole reason for this. So it doesn't matter what it is, it's just features that we want to steal, basically.
As I say, you might see us opening a box of flowers.
Yes, absolutely. So I think the takeaway from this, my favourite thing back to the beginning there, printed box. Love it. Would love to see a Kovalex printed box. Think we could have a lot of fun with that.
Thank you, and
yeah, throw comments in, throw questions in, and next week or this week, depending on, yes, it will be this week now by the time I get this edited and out, we should have the next instalment in the Open Development episode 3. Turrets are done, mainly focus on the wings. The wings are looking awesome, and the rear landing gear. So it's quite a lot to catch up on, and we shall see you there.
Cool.
Ta-da!
Bye-bye.